Welcome to Albion TV presents the AO Daily Show, your source of real news in an unreal world, keeping you up to date on the latest news, events, and the great community of Albion Online. Today is Thursday, the 14th of October, 2021. I am the Chosen One, and I am joined today for a new player show by Nazori, who will be doing the commentary, and NomadPoncho, who's working on the back end. Welcome, guys.
Well, thank you, Shozen. This is Nazori here. Hi, everybody. And Nomad, you're here?
I'm here indeed. Hello.
All right. So today we're going to go over some topics regarding group activities you can do with friends. So I prepared a little bit. I don't know if you guys know me. I stream Albion Online, fairly often. And we'll be going over some things that new players may not know about. So we're gonna go over some tips and things like that. Nomad's gonna be here to assist me, and should be pretty fun.
Yeah, we'll also be giving away some gold prizes, and I know everybody likes gold. So go ahead, ask your questions in chat. We'll try to get to all of those as we can while we go over what you can do in groups.
All right, what do you want me to ask first of all?
So I'm on my guild island. I think you have access to that.
Okay,
so if
you
you
come
want
on
to
over.
head over there real quick. Yeah, and if anyone has any questions during the entire thing, we're going to be watching chat pretty closely. So, yeah. Let's wait till Nomad gets over here. I don't know if we really didn't have a huge amount of gameplay planned, but I think we're going to try and wing it a little bit as we go through some of the topics here.
I don't know if I have access to your guild island actually. It's iconic, isn't it? With the E should be.
Yeah. One sec.
Yeah, you might have to give me access to that one still.
I don't know if I trust you. You should have it there.
Just make sure you haven't got any open chests, and you'll be fine.
You should see it on the list now.
Did you save it?
Oh, you have access to so
I
many
know, and I
islands.
can't get rid of them. It makes me sad.
That is quite the list that you have there. That's impressive.
I just okay.
You know,
Okay.
it's
Actually,
Stafford,
A,
not
B,
Poncho.
C,
I got
D.
it.
Okay.
No, okay, I see you gave him the wrong. Okay.
Okay, there we go.
You have to redo it, yeah.
There we go. Look at that. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Nomad, can you turn up Nazori a bit there? He's a bit low on the volume in the show. If you could just tune him up a bit.
Okay, that should be about good there, Nuz. Do you want to?
Yep. You want to test that sound out?
Yeah, that should be fine.
Good. All right.
Yeah, you're much better now. Now you've muted everyone.
No, that was me. I'm sorry. Actually, my daughter came in the room, so I was actually handling that one.
Just complete silence for a few minutes.
Well, we're getting messages from the back end here. It's like, wait, did you mute everybody? I can't hear anyone now.
Yeah, most of the kids are at school right now, but I got the daughter here, so. But yeah, the wife just took care of it. So, all right, so we're ready to go. So, wanted to go over a few things. So, I think last time I was on the show, we went over, I don't even remember, what was it? Trying to stay safe while doing pretty much activities in the world, and then we went into ganking. Today, I kind of wanted to go over what you can do with friends. So a lot of people, when they hop into the game, have no idea what the game offers, right? Essentially, they get out of the tutorial and there's no quests like most games will show you. So they're just kind of left with an open world. And actually, that's what I really love about the game. So what I wanted to kind of do is kind of go over a bunch of different things you can do with various group sizes and things like that. I guess I have a whole list here. Obviously, there are some of the obvious options, right? Like group dungeons. Most people discover those ones pretty quick. They're the ones that are pretty much listed throughout the world. And those you can pretty much do. I kind of wanted to go over a little trick that some people don't know about with group dungeons. So group dungeons are one of those things that like just everyone knows. Oh, you can get a bunch of friends together. You bring a tank, you bring a healer, and you can get a group dungeon done. But not a lot of people know you can do it with minimal amount of people. So I don't know if you wanted to give that a shot, Nomad.
Oh, we could do. What would you I can nature, I guess, on this character.
Not nature. No, actually,
Oh,
what
not
I
nature.
wanted to
So
kinda,
no healer in this one.
Whoa, no healer.
Okay.
So what I wanted to kind of show off is how you can do group dungeons with. You can do it with 2 people pretty easily. You can obviously, if you really know what you're doing, do it alone. But I kind of wanted to show off how you can do this without a healer. So if you have like 3 friends and you didn't want to kind of go too slow with a tank and a healer and a DPS, kind of show you how you can go along with 2. So pretty much whatever DPS weapon you want to bring, and then some stealth boots actually.
So typically with these ones, we have like mainly it's I think fire you tend to run with, isn't it, in your duo, frost, that sort of thing. So I'm obviously a little bit more restricted to the hunter weapons and stuff on this character. I suppose I could always bring a one-handed dagger or something that should work.
One-handed dagger would be a really good idea.
Yep. Okay, I'll go get a one-handed dagger set then. Do you want to go out of Kellyan, or were you thinking anywhere Black Zone?
We should probably go somewhere where we won't be interrupted. I'd say Black Zone would probably be best.
I'm currently Bridgewatch locked, but I should have my reset to Limhurst if you're Limhurst locked still.
Oh, this is getting spicy right off the bat. We're gonna get stream sniped.
So did you want to do Limhurst or?
Yeah, let's do Limhurst. Let's do Limhurst.
Okay. I think I actually have a set for a one-handed dagger mostly set up there already too, so it should be pretty good. Yeah, because a lot of people
I'm gonna bring a fire set.
A lot of people
bring
you're
your
doing
8.3 newbie sets. Is that what's going on here?
8.3 newbie sets. Should we be in like lower tier?
Yeah, I think so. I think just to give a good example to show you don't have to be crazy high tier. I mean, we already have the spec advantage as well, right?
Yeah. Anything we can do to show player newbie friendly content.
New player content, 8.3. You know. Well, I mean, if you watch half the videos on YouTube, I think that's what a lot of people usually believe, right? It's step 1, get something to 8.2 masterpiece, and then step 2 is go run solo dungeons. I think that's the go-to on YouTube, right? Let me get a one. So okay.
Step 3, roll in the cash.
So what tier are we doing? Let's do a tier 6 here, shall we? Just a regular tier 6?
6-1, I think is fine.
6-1.
6-1
is very attainable quite quickly, I'd say.
Yeah. I did a 0 to hero run recently where I created a new character. I think I was in tier 6 gear within a couple hours. It was like 2 hours I was in tier 6 gear. So you can get there pretty quick. Obviously I've played before, so it would be quicker for me than a new player. Let's see.
For those who are wondering, if you type in raffle into the chat, it will register you for the raffle, but it will delete your message. That's so that we can keep reading what's actually going on in chat. It does count. We're not deleting your regular messages, just the entrances into the raffle so that it's not spammed.
Nomad, make sure you bring a Shoes of Tenacity.
Okay, so I was gonna bring mercenary shoes. A lower tier tenacity is cheaper now to do that with, or
you can do either. Lower tier tenacity is under 100k. You can do this with mercenary shoes.
I'll do mercenary shoes. I think that's the cheaper newer player option, right?
That's a good idea. I'll go mercenary shoes.
Yeah,
they're extremely cheap.
I like this, going with the cheap options that players can afford. We're getting there, new player friendly.
Yeah. All right, I think.
Do you have your 8.3 masterpiece switch as well, by the way, just for
just make sure,
just in case you get dove, you know.
Just make sure you cut the camera before we swap.
Yes,
to it, right?
yeah. No one will know. Nobody will know.
Oh no, nobody is going 4.0. That's not a fair
now,
game for
Are we going to
anybody.
do armored horses here for the kind of a little bit more survivability, or are we going to go for riding horses for our beginner new player cheap mounts?
Let's do armored horses.
People can afford
the Black
horses.
Zone.
I think people can afford a horse. I don't think anybody's going to be too
'Cause,
mad at you.
well, I
for
mean,
paying
obviously
a little bit more for a horse.
the advantage is if you have the riding horse, you have the carry weight too, whereas the armored obviously you have a little bit of extra protection. So
we're going to a dungeon. I don't think unless we find a legendary or something. I think we'll be good.
I'm actually gonna bring just like 2 res pods just in case. And
just in case.
And let me see, probably definitely soup switch here, right?
I would say you want soup already on.
I might be okay on the one-handed dagger, but I'm not sure. We'll see.
Well, it's the invis, right? So if you ever have to invis, the soup brings you the full.
Well, yeah, if you have that slotted for sure, and you drink that. Okay, yeah.
So I bring a swap for in case of PvP. Like
Yes, yeah.
different food will be in the bar.
Yes, yeah, okay. Right, so I think I'm all set there for the most part. Do we bring a cheap pair of dodge shoes in case we have a boss where we need an iframe? Or we're going to ignore all the bosses pretty much with this without the healer and just do the dungeons?
Oh, I didn't think of that. There are a couple bosses you can't take. You can take most of them like this, but like Aethos, I think is
Very
is rough
difficult. Yes. Yeah.
in the keeper.
Yeah.
There's a couple bosses.
Okay.
We could bring a swap. I'll just bring a cheap healing staff.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
That should be fine.
That works out.
So I'll
Yeah.
bring
If
a
you
cheap
bring
healing
a,
staff swap.
if it was a like just a druidic or something, right?
The real reason you would run this, you want to bring druidic or I'll bring it.
If you
And
want
we
to
have a
bring
quick
it.
question from chat that you guys can probably answer very easily. Somebody wants to know what the difference between this 4.1, 4.2 business that we're talking about. What do the tiers mean? What do those points mean to the players?
Yeah, so those are enchantment levels on the gear. You can see the enchantment level when you look at a gear. There's little diamonds at the bottom. It goes up to 0.3 on every single piece. So starting at tier 4, it can be enchanted up to 3 levels. What that does to the gear is effectively raises its power to 1 tier higher-ish. It's pretty much the equivalent of 1 tier higher. So 4.1 is effectively tier 5. 4.2 is effectively tier 6. So it's pretty much 1 tier up in power. And so the actual highest level of gear that you can get to is 8.3, which is effectively like a tier 11 piece of gear.
Which also we have
You
the
can also
quality.
use the artifacts as well, which also increase the item power, which helps to actively raise it a tier.
Right. Yep. Well, artifacts do have just a general higher. So I'll be running a blazing staff here. And if you compare the item power level of a blazing staff at, say, 6.1 and an item power to like just a great fire, the blazing will actually have a higher item power. Is it a whole tier? I think
It's not quite for the actually. So the Avalonian ones are now an entire tier above the base weapons, being 100 above the base non-artifact weapon in the same tier. The artifact ones, ones made out of relics. Those ones are actually 75 item power higher. The ones made out of the soul runes are actually 50 item power higher. And then we have the regular runed ones as well, which are 25 item power.
Yeah.
Above, and
So,
then you also have gear quality as well, don't you? Which is going to add onto that too.
Yeah, not a lot of people look at that when they're looking at their weapons and armor, like what tier they should go. The item power is really the golden number you're looking at there, because it'll determine how much damage the moves do. Like if you have two different fire staffs that are 100 item power off in power, like the Qs will do a different amount of damage depending on that item power number. All right, so we're both at the gate here. You want to head? What's the least likely? I think east. I think east will be the quietest, maybe.
East,
I don't know.
Yes, yeah, we can try east. We can try east.
Let's do east. All right.
Do I actually? I don't actually have a block screen. If we wanted to disguise where we were going, do I put it on the? Do I put it on the gamer hole?
Yeah, we've only got a few new players watching and a few veterans here to snag gold and stream snipe.
I do have the editor hole scene which we can transition to, but I'm sat here all dressed up for nothing now. Do we? Okay, where did you go, Naz? Do you want to pick on the minimap?
I am running down. For some reason, my mount looks completely
You're in Portal East, right? Just to clarify.
I don't know what's going on there.
You're in Portal East.
Portal
Yeah,
East.
okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna ping on the map.
I'm following along.
I'm gonna ping on the map.
Okay, beautiful.
Okay.
I'm behind you. Okay,
Perfect. Yeah, we'll just try our best here not to get. No. Let's see how it's going.
I mean, if we get hit, that's just content.
Okay,
It'll
I have
be
one
fine.
here. I have a Skeletal dungeon right here.
I see Stabber over there. Yeah, he looks pretty safe. He's got himself a dungeon. I think I don't see anybody over here to kill him yet. I think he's at least going to be able to get in.
Oh, that's step one. step one complete.
Oh, I thought it was grind up to 8.3.
Oh yeah. Oh wait. No, sorry.
Yeah,
that's the YouTube step one. Sorry, we're trying to do the AOTV exclamation here.
Step 1, get gear on. Step 2, find dungeons. Step 3, roll mobs.
Step 4, die eventually.
Oh. I gotta switch some settings. Give me 2 seconds. Let's see.
Interestingly enough, those skeletons you can kill if you interrupt the AoE they do there. They're very low fame still, but if you want the fame and silver from them, you can interrupt and stop that skill.
There we go.
I should
So
probably
pretty
put Sunder Armor on here, actually, shouldn't I, to break the mob resistance for you?
That would be a good idea, yeah.
Might do that here in a little bit.
I should probably switch over to artillery. So you can do this with pretty much any weapon. This is actually a group dungeon, so we're going to be pretty much showing how you can run through harder content. We could be in like a tier 6. I'd recommend not going any higher than tier 6, but tier 5, tier 6 dungeons, this is really nice to do when you have only a few people to run with. Because if you run with, say, 3 or 4 friends, and you're trying to stick to that classic healer, tank, DPS, you're gonna run real slow. Like you'll be moving incredibly slow through the dungeon. So this is something you can do well with minimal friends, 2-3 people. So what we're gonna do here is essentially, we're both gonna be tanking mob aggro, and essentially if we get too low, we're just gonna pop our boots. Oh, that didn't work at all.
Oh, that reset the archer too because you went down.
But yeah, you can swap aggro between both of us via stealthing. So essentially, if you get too low, you pop your stealth, it'll go to your buddy, and if your buddy gets too low, he pops stealth, vice versa.
Okay, so take 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'll actually initiate here in a second, I think.
There we go. My buttons are different than I'm used to now. I forgot because I had to reinstall from my operating system.
So I think we actually want to probably leash with these summons. We probably want to leash the
yeah,
ghosts.
let's leash them. Let's leash them.
Because these do not despawn even after you kill the main stuff there.
Let me switch to artillery because it's way stronger for this.
Yes. Also, the reason why we're bringing these shoes, particularly with the mercenary shoes, for example, is if you use this channeled invisibility, it will allow you to change over any other item that you're wearing whilst you're invis. As long as you've dropped combat with the mobs and you're not in combat with any players, you could change your weapon, your armor, your helmet, your potions, absolutely anything you want here, apart from the shoes, and the shoes will continue to channel that effect on you. And because it lasts, for quite a long time here, 9 seconds, that's going to give you your cooldowns back completely with the change.
Yeah, and that's a huge thing too. If you're running like this, you're pretty vulnerable to players coming up behind you. So what you can do is, using that invisibility, if someone's coming up behind you, you can pop that invisibility, you'll drop mob aggro, and you'll have time to switch over to a getaway set, a PvP set, or whatever, and the mobs are going to still be there, right? So the person who just came in to dive you, I don't know why these things are hitting me in stealth. These guys are funny.
No,
Save me,
Nazori,
Nomad.
not now.
Save me,
Not like this.
No! Okay, we're good.
So this is what you want to do as a new player: is bite off more than you can chew, and
Well, this is team building, right? It's the hardships you
Very
go
important.
through that will make you stronger as a player. You know, you can't have it easy forever.
Nomad, can you turn down the in-game volume?
Yes,
for
I was about to
the
do
combat
that.
Noise just
It
a
was
little bit.
A little bit.
I think these summons are a little funny with the stealth. They seem to still hit you even after you've stealthed up. So let's be careful with that.
Might be a little too low. We'll have to see. Oh. Naz, no!
No.
The cleric grove was slightly missed there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, slightly. What was I gonna say? I can't remember. These statues are my least favorite mob.
Yes, the statues are unfortunate. A lot of famed groups that are doing dungeons actually will just skip past them because they are quite annoying even for full groups.
I remember a long time ago, couldn't you pull them around? I don't think you can pull them around anymore.
You
but
used
still,
to be able
like,
to
shove
displace them. I think there's some spells in the game that you can displace them, but yeah, no, you used to be able to knock them around like a big game of chess. You know. Knight to D4. Just. Oh, you're kind of flashing in and out of my screen there. That was interesting.
Really? So is it not stealthing me up fully?
It was. You were kind of hopping in and out of visibility there, which is quite strange.
Oh, that's very odd. Oh man, I have all the default settings. Can't loot in combat, all that. I gotta change all my settings still.
That's important.
To be able to, yeah, you have to,
Yeah, you gotta be able
how
to
else are you gonna
loot
wrap
in
the fight?
Right.
Yep. How much fame are we getting per mob here? So we're getting about 2.3k for these little guys.
Which again, for a new player and for for duoing through, it's respectable. And the thing is about this is there are places in the game that you'll be able to get more fame. Rose of Avalon would be a good example where you can go through in solo. But I mean, if you're tucked away somewhere in a little tier 5 dungeon, even in the Black Zone, you're very unlikely to get messed with. It's very unlikely that anyone's going to come through. If you're a little bit worried about being dove, you could even skip the first few mobs, and I can almost guarantee you that no one's going to dive you in a tier 5 group dungeon in the Black Zone if you skip the first couple of mobs. It's no. Okay, I got you.
I'm good. I don't know why I forgot I had this helmet on the whole time.
Just so used to saving it for PvP, probably.
Oh goodness. Yeah, honestly, I'd say in terms of safeness, as far as dungeons in general go, right? I would say red zone's probably far less safe than going in the Black Zone. There's just such a large area in the Black Zone that if you pick some random area and some random dungeon, it's very unlikely people are going to chase you in there. I mean, it's entirely possible, but very unlikely.
So what other types of group PvP do we have, or PvE do we have available? Then, so we're currently doing solo random dungeons. What kind of other areas that we have available?
Those are group random dungeons, but yes, yeah. So I have else on the list. Other things that people aren't really thinking about are group bosses. The world bosses. A lot of people look at those on the map, and I'm not sure if everyone knows what I'm talking about, so maybe you can pull it up for us. But
we have it up here.
Like Ocelot, Camlin, Innismon are the 3 areas where they have the world bosses. Those are actually some pretty nice areas for EXP, and are not too far to reach for fairly newer players. You could take a group of like 7 to 10 over there. So if you've got a lot of people that are playing together, like your whole guild is on, you feel like doing something, those areas are honestly, I don't see them getting hit very often lately, and that's a huge content option for a lot of people that they've been overlooking lately. Basically what those areas are their elite mobs with quite a few little bosses, and then typically one big boss, and those bosses are up pretty much always. Obviously
Every half an hour respawn, so yeah, they're very common now. They were changed around recently to be more kind of consistent with content, because they used to be very long respawns, but now yeah, every half an hour there's always people there. Like they'll try and come in and come out and stuff like that to do them. The red zone ones typically a little bit less done, I think, than the black zone ones, with the black zone ones giving season points. And this one being a yellow zone is very active as far as I'm aware. It does.
Oh, is it?
It does have people kind of just sat outside waiting to do it, and there's all sorts of shenanigans going on with it being a non-full loot area where there's battle mammoths and all sorts of stuff that show up there to do it. So I'd say they're a little less accessible for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of where you would want to go for more of a challenge in the Royals. But yeah, I haven't been there in a while. It's probably one of my favorite bosses though in the game. That is Ocelot, the demon prince.
Yes, Ocelot. The mechanics there are quite enjoyable to do in terms of the PvE available in Albion. I think Demon Prince is definitely one of the more fun ones, where you'll have phases where it will summon portals from hell to release demon dogs in and around you, and your party has to clear them, and then you have these big lasers that will come spinning out from it. You all have to walk around and avoid. And out of all the PvE in Albion, I think that's definitely one of the more active and inclusive fights that it feels enjoyable to actually, take part in, and also to complete. With the rewards that you can get from each of these solo or each of these world boss areas. Sorry, you have a couple of mount rewards from them as well. We actually have the Morgana mare, which is a flaming, leaves a flaming trail behind it, which fears quite similar to the Fiend Robe, for those of you that know what that is. You have a spectral...
That drops from there?
Yep, spectral bone horse with the spectral mask you will get from the undead one, the Camlan one we pointed at, and then the Rage Claw drops the bone marrow too. So you have access to some very unique, and as you can see, very expensive mounts from those areas too, which is super interesting, and a very good incentive as well.
All right, I'm going to be pulling another raffle soon, so make sure you get into the raffle, guys.
So the roads of Avalon are one of the other group kind of areas that I've been going to recently with a few people. Maybe we'll make a little transition into there perhaps in a little bit.
Yeah,
but the roads of Avalon group chess are a relatively newer addition to the game, and are definitely super enjoyable in terms of the content that you have available in there. The mobs can be a little bit harder, raging up to the gold chest that you have there, which is kind of like open world raid content, where you'll have these big Avalonian mobs that do a lot of damage, but also the thing with the roads is there's a lot of fame to be had in there. So if you find a good zone in the roads of Avalon, the fame per hour you can get in those zones are genuinely pretty crazy.
Yeah. We can transition over there if you want. So that's something that
We could do. Should we transition out? I think we've displayed a good portion of this, or would you like to continue on?
Let's do. I wonder if there's probably a portal nearby. We could take these sets in or swap. Either way.
One thing I will notice is that we've just gone through the second floor of a dungeon, and because we did that, as we came out here, we don't actually have a bubble, which fortunately all we're met with is an angry bear, but I have had situations before where I've zoned out into a lot of people, and it is not a great experience if that should happen to you. Hey, we have a road right here as well.
Yep. For anyone who's wondering what that was, so basically every so often you can get a bubble, right? When you get a bubble, like going through a zone change or into a dungeon, out of a dungeon, you'll get a bubble that protects you. Ooh, we got a little he's afraid of us, so I instinctively will take him out.
I don't think we can do anything here unless you want to just blazing him off his mount. Let me see if I can get into this portal before he takes a charge.
But yeah, so if you get a bubble, it'll give you a cooldown until you can receive a new one. So because we swapped to the second floor, that was our bubble, and then we left the dungeon, and so we have our massive like 15-second cooldown before you can use moves, and no bubble. So yeah, never, always be aware of that.
And that does include as well, if you're ever going out to the Black Zone, if you go through one of the realm gates and then you see a lot of people there and you go, oh, I'm going to go back in for a second. Wait for that bubble again before you leave. Otherwise, you will go out into the Black Zone, out of these portals, just like we did when we came out here, and then you'll be surrounded by players with no protection, and that can result in your untimely demise too.
Love is saying you can't really do anything in the roads solo or duo right now. It's just a whole lot of big groups. I would say if you're feeling like that, always bring like just plan for getaway. We have solo chests here.
Let's go and go check out the solo real quick, I suppose. Less famous between the two of us.
We got to gather behind us.
But a lot of that comes down to where you go in. If you go in from a zone right next to the Royal City, you're almost guaranteed to have some big groups and stuff around. But if you go like we've just gone to the Black Zone, we've gone through a 2-man portal. If you have a look at where these portals are coming in from and see that they're not too close proximity to anywhere very busy, then you'll likely have an okay time. It's really the connections that are very close to other areas in the game that are usually busy up this way.
Yeah. I would say if you're feeling like you're getting overwhelmed too often by big groups, I would always have a getaway swap on, and then while you're fighting, have a getaway set ready. So you have like your fight set, or your PvE set, and then your getaway set. Something like a double-bladed staff, a knight armor or an assassin jacket, and then run with an invis pot in your pocket. So basically you're running, and then if you see someone coming up on you, you're going to invis pot, swap to your getaway, and then just be out of there. And that can honestly feel really good to be able to get away from a group of like 5 or 6 people when you're just sitting here vulnerable doing PvE. So yeah.
One thing as well you can do is if you keep your mount next to you. I mean, it takes you a little bit longer to clear with the cooldowns and stuff. But if you're having the mount next to you, and then you go to clear the content in front of you. If you did have anybody come and dive you, then you could see a name on the edge of your screen, just instantly mount up and start moving. Whereas if you didn't have your mount, the mount up process here, as you can see, this bar is a lot longer. This is what a lot of players do to stay safe in this kind of open world PvE content. Is just keep the mount in range and don't leave this small circle that you see around your mount so that the mount doesn't disappear.
I'd also say don't fight directly on the mount, because if you do, you'll wind up with like oil splotches on the mount or whatever, and you won't be able to mount up when you absolutely need to. So pretty much fighting around the circle, but not right on the mount.
So the chests we're doing now are green chests, aren't they? They're basically designed for solos, but you can still, I'd say, reasonably clear these duo. without a huge hit to the fame you're getting, and obviously you also have a little bit more safety then. And I've seen a lot of people tend to do these duo, but you can see these are much easier, or maybe about the same, to kill than those tier 5 dungeon mobs we were doing, but they give us a little bit more fame, in fact, actually, for each mob we kill, so...
Yeah. Yeah, the Avalonian mobs are extremely rewarding for fame, and then these chests are actually great to do. Oop. I have an alarm going off 1 second here. Sorry about
So the other thing with the chest as well here is obviously we can't open this yet because we haven't in fact killed all the mobs. So if we try to click this, it will tell us we can't, and we have to clear the rest of the mobs. So you can't just go and steal these chests in the Outlands. You do have to clear the mobs around to be able to do it first.
I wasn't watching, but you basically showed on the map how to identify what's solo and group there. Be good to know how to find this type of content, right? This is one of, honestly, I think it's your favorite current content right now. Also, one of mine is just basically these open world chests in the roads of Avalon. There are 3 different types of the chests. There's green, blue, and gold. Green is for solo, blue is for group, and then gold is for a large group. I'd say about 7 people is a good balanced group for gold chests. So if you got like 2 to 5 people, usually you can just do the blue chests. If you have more than that, you're plenty capable to be able to do the gold chests. Those are a little bit more complicated, but extremely rewarding. You can get millions from the gold chests. The setup for it, honestly, every time we run out, we run with a pretty strict setup, like certain weapons. Great arcane staffs are huge in those to like freeze up the mobs. So you want to be able to, you'll want to bring kind of a specific setup to do those. But they are, in my opinion, some of the best content that the game has to offer because it's open world. You can get into fights doing it with other groups. And honestly, the rewards are more than enough to incentivize you over there. I've opened chests with actual just 40 million in the chest for our group. We had like 6 people. We split 40 million 6 ways from just one chest. Now, obviously, not every chest is going to be like that, but if you're running those chests for like a night, it's almost a guarantee you're going to pop one open that's pretty juicy. So it's really nice.
I think that's the one thing
the
that
road?
confuses people really about the loot in the roads, isn't it? Is that it's not incredibly consistent. You can get a lot of green chests that are worth very little, but then when you get those bigger chests, it's so much money in them that it kind of makes up for it. So the roads is more about consistently doing the content to kind of make those very valuable chests appear and, you know, to be able to be rewarded by them. Whereas running other content that might be more consistent in terms of the baseline loot you're getting, but usually doesn't give you that crazy kind of high-level chest rewards where you're getting, you know, millions and millions and millions of silver just in that one chest.
So Pillar's asking, and Shozen answer, but Pillar was asking, how do you access the road? So maybe you can show everyone what the portals look like. I mean, as you're opening the map, they're seeing it, but there are portals that will take you to the roads. The roads are an unmapped area in Albion, so you can't actually see them on the world map. They're just kind of in the middle of the black zone. But those portals, you'll find them anywhere in the Royals. Well, not anywhere. I guess it's past tier 4 zones, I think. I think the very low tier zones don't have portals, but everything else, yellow zones, red zones, blue zones, black zones, they all could contain a roads portal, and they'll just take you to a random road. And then there'll be portals in there that'll take you to other roads. It's kind of like a fun way you can just jump in, explore, look for whatever content you're looking for. And yeah, honestly, it doesn't only have open world chests. There's dungeons, like static dungeons in there. The static dungeons are actually unique to others. There's actually one in our area if you want to show that. You'll see static group and solo dungeons and Avalonian Dungeons in the roads, and the unique thing about them is they have, what is it, a 600% loot bonus?
610%, yeah.
Yeah,
More valuable. So I mean that's a big scaler. Now the common saying out here tends to be 610% of nothing is still nothing. So again, unfortunately, sometimes you can still get very low reward chests if it was going to be a low reward chest. But that does mean, however, when you get those legendary chests or those epic chests, that the loot scales way better inside them. So you can end up with these ridiculous chests where you can't even carry all of the loot, you have that much. It's especially troubling for when you do some of the content, like often me and Nazori here, like you know, I do it myself as well with friends, where you'll duo this content and you'll get a chest open and you can't fit everything in your pockets. you're struggling between what you want to trash and what you want to take back home, and it's a whole problem.
I'll give you 20,
It's a
27 soldier armors.
terrible problem. It's just, what do you do when you just have too much loot? Oh.
Also, did you want to mention about these areas here on the road as well as the
Yes.
gathering areas?
Yeah, these are huge. So this is a gathering area. You're going to see like an icon on the map for these. There's every single type of gathering nodes here. So these can actually spawn bosses, aspects. So they'll roam around these areas here. There isn't one at this one, but it's actually not too hard to find. So if you're running through here and you're checking every one of these bigger areas, there's big gathering areas and small ones. In this current zone, we have 3 small ones and 2 large ones. The large ones have a chance to have an aspect. That is mostly group content. You can solo them with the right setup, like a self-sustained spear or a self-sustained single-handed battle axe are the most common weapons to use for that. I think the single-handed dagger is capable of it too, but
A crime.
typically if you bring... Oh, it's a murder happened here, it seems. But yeah, small group can take them down pretty easily. You can solo them. They're basically massive gathering nodes when you kill them. How many are in those? Do you know? Like,
It depends really on the sizes. So on any of these areas, the smallest we have guardians, and loot guardians you're gonna lose your mount. I knew when you ran into those trees, I'll walk with you. So the smallest ones you'll get are called guardians, and they will have I think the base is about 100. It's starting at tier 5. They have like 100 resources in them, the tier 5 guardians. There is also a stronger version of the guardian. You can tell that by the insignia above their head. There's a small black insignia above the head of the guardian. If it's the lesser one, the greater guardians, those actually will yield 250 resources for those tier 5s, which obviously if you're a new player, a new gatherer trying to make your way up in the world through and level those gathering specs and masteries, the roads can be a great place to do it if you find those. So you will most likely need a healer and DPS for those as a newer player, because they will kick out a lot of damage. And they can be quite scary, some of them. The leather ones in particular will do a lot of damage. So it's incredibly rewarding content in the Roads of Avalon overall. And obviously that comes with a lot of risk. These are very open areas. Anybody could be in here at any moment. So take in reasonable gear. I think with a lot of players, they tend to worry about the whole thing of losing their gear set and what they're going to do when they die. The biggest thing is, I've said this, Nazori says this a lot as well, is you know, your gear is simply a consumable. It's the same as the potions that you're using, the food you're using. As long as you get value out of your gear, it's okay if you lose it. So if we've come out here, we've just killed a bunch of things. We've had a bunch of fame now. You know, we've got a bunch of silver, which will go into our pockets as well. If we lose the gear now and what we're carrying on us, it would suck. But as long as we've made enough fame, and as long as we've, you know, potentially picked up enough silver and stuff to the point where we're happy with it, we've made value out of that set. If we manage to take this loot home and get it safely banked and then come back out in the same set, it's paid for at that point. You don't need to worry about losing it. So just take sets in that you're okay with losing, and you'll be absolutely fine.
I always like to think of the gear in Albion like ammo in other games. You're meant to use it up. It's not there to just stay in your chest and keep growing and growing, get more and more of. You're supposed to find ways to, and I hate to say this, you're supposed to find ways to lose it, really. You want to keep escalating your challenge until you get to the point where sometimes you are losing gear, because that means when you aren't, you're rewarding yourself as high as you possibly can.
Yep. I was going to mention before we moved on, a lot of people don't know the codex, these things. I don't know if we wanted to mention that.
Oh,
so
Yeah, go ahead and explain that. Yeah.
So this is like a little thing on the floor here. Oh, we got a company. Maybe.
You just blast them off a little bit.
Portal's occupied. We're busy. Come back later. So these things on the floor here, they'll actually show you what these portals lead to. So there's actually a code to these little spinning discs. When you go, you know, when you walk up to these portals, it'll kind of line up and light up. There are resources online that'll show you what they are. I actually don't know. I think I could do it by memory. So there's 3 different rings here. Each one tells you a different thing about the portal you're about to go in. So the first one, the outermost ring, is what type of road you're going to. I don't know if I remember which one is each. I think this one's like the hallway or the entryway, and then this one's the hallway, I think. This one I believe is the rest, and then is that one the deep road? I actually can't remember.
Should be.
And then this one's.
I should be able to pull up a little graphic here actually on the.
Yeah, there's an infographic.
There we
there
go.
it is.
Do you have that?
There we are. There we are. Did I get it right? Oh, no. This one's the rest over here. So you can actually memorize the codex and figure out, be able to know what you're about to step into. The name of the zone can also kind of give that away, but that's a lot more memorization to figure out. The second ring is the tier of the zone. So this one is what, tier 6, I think? Yeah, tier 6. This one's tier 7 over here. So you can kind of actually know what you're jumping into before you go because of the little code on the floor. So yeah, that's really useful. Doesn't show you in game. You kind of have to either pull that up somewhere or just kind of memorize it. I think most players who run around on the roads enough will memorize that sort of thing.
Ooh, this guy's in some nice swords.
Yeah, I wonder if he's hanging around. I don't know if he's looking to fight.
I might see if I can. Do you want to mount up? Do you want to mount up? And I'm gonna see if I can.
Okay.
Tell me if he's coming back around the screen again.
You know what we can do is we'll see if we can get him. I'll tell you when to stealth, maybe. Oh, he just said, "Oh." He might be checking in on us.
Oh, you guys. I don't need any of this. No, thank you.
No, one-handed dagger's so bad at ganking. No.
So close.
The one-handed dagger's unfortunately just not a gank weapon. Fireball! No.
Oh, it didn't cast.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a
You
shame.
got it
Almost.
arranged.
Yeah, you will live this time. Okay. So what are we coming to here as well? What zone is this?
So this is a rest, Avalonian rest. This is where you can put a hideout in the roads. These guys have clearly put a lot of hideouts in this road.
Looking like an infection over here. Yep.
They're quite different from the others. They don't have the well, they do sometimes have open world chests. They don't have the static dungeons like the other roads have. But they'll sometimes have the open world chests, the gathering zones. The big thing to note here is that people live here, right? So, and there's usually only 1 to 2 exits. So you got to be careful when coming into one of these zones. You're pretty much, stealing from someone's backyard. So you got to be quiet or, possibly ready to kind of, dip out if they spot you running their stuff.
It is probably worth noting as well that you can summon solo dungeons in this area as well with maps. So you can spawn solo random dungeons in these areas, the same as in the open world, which makes it quite a good place to be able to live out of and just do regular PvE. And there's also fishing opportunities around here too. If you want to just sit here, you can find yourself a nice zone, and it can be quite lucrative to fish inside the roads of Avalon too. So if you bring a fishing rod around, you found a nice little spot on the map. You can see the kind of points of water on the map here. And you can just pull up a pew and do some fishing, and it's quite relaxing content, to be honest with you.
Yeah, one of the best fish you can get in the game is from the roads, right? Only the roads. It's the snapper.
The roasted, the snapper for the lifesteal food.
Yep.
Pure
Super
mist.
popular food. So the fish that make it are pretty pricey. I think they only come from tier 7 zones. The tier 7 fish.
Yeah, I believe it's tier 7 zones and above out here.
Mac is asking, do you lose your silver in PvP or just gear? It's actually just gear. So your bank of silver and gold do not get touched when you die. Only what you have on you. Your mount, your gear, anything in your inventory. That's the only thing that drops. So you can kind of determine how much that's worth because they have a little tooltip showing you what your inventory is worth.
It is worth
so
noting as well that you will when you go down on your knees. In fact, I might do it just here just to demonstrate. So I'm just going to try and go down here. Let's turn this on to speed up the process a little bit. So I'm about to go down here. Now, what happens when I go down is I did it in the worst place because you can't really see here. Hopefully, if you just release those, I'll be able to stand up. So, okay, when you go down on your knees to PvE, or it can happen sometimes in PvP under strange circumstances, but you will drop silver on the floor, and a lot of new players get a little bit confused by that silver because it's not really explained, I think, maybe the best, but the silver that's dropped is actually based on the tier of gear that you're wearing, and it is a drop that the game delivers when you go down in this gear, because 230 silver here, now I'm going to have to repair this gear, it's going to cost me more than 230 silver to repair.
Yeah, so it's a percentage of how much it would have cost to repair that durability loss that you just incurred.
So but
every
don't
time
worry.
you go down, you lose durability, and a little bit of silver is dropped. That's mostly for yellow zone fighting, right? You down someone in the yellow zone because you can PvP there, but you don't die. The player that downs you gets to loot your silver, and you obviously are going to have to pay quite a bit to repair from that down.
But it's just not to worry, because that is not your silver that you're dropping. That, again, is generated by the game. So this is one of the Guardians we were actually talking about as well. This is a tier 6 Guardian here. As you can see, it's got the double cross swords, the yellow insignia above its head. So it is going to be harder. I'm not even sure if I can solo this in 6.1, but we do have a backup
did we
fire
find a
staff
Guardian?
here.
Even?
Yeah.
Oh, there's this guy. This is actually, yeah, one of the little Guardians. These are huge, actually. One of the best ways to get your gathering leveled are these guys, especially from like 5 tier 6 onward. Let me see if I can hit him with a blazing here. But these guys have a lot of... Can you...
No! It's gonna pop me!
I'll get it!
Ah! Okay, I'm down.
I'll avenge you.
I didn't watch my cooldowns very well there.
Ooh. Oh, you could sit right in the middle on this.
Yes,
okay,
you can,
okay.
yeah. I unfortunately ate the entire thing, so that didn't do me very well. There you go. So now just cheating with the ice
There we
block
go.
there.
How much is in these? I can't
So
remember.
the
It's
tier
like-
6 ones are actually a lot less. I can't remember the exact number either, but the tier 6 ones are actually a lot less than the tier 5 ones. The tier 5 just will give you hundreds. This will give you tens of resources. I don't even believe this is over 100. And then the tier 7 ones even less. So you know they are still valuable to pick up, because obviously they're higher tier resources. You don't get quite as many. The flat ones here you can still gather, as you see here. You can still gather it with the tier 5 tool. So if you're tier 5 and you're on the roads of Avalon, you can do these tier 6 Guardians. You can do the tier 5 ones.
And that's massive gathering EXP. That'll help you hit your marks to get to the next tier.
So I have all of mine up at tier 8 right now, and that's primarily how I got mine, was through the roads of Avalon. In fact, earlier in the year, I didn't even have anything in woodcutting or anything, or mining, and I did all of that in the roads of Avalon, just because the bulk of resources here available to you as a small and solo scale player is way better than you can get in the open world.
So there's a couple questions in the chat. Mac is asking, he's put 100 hours in the game and hasn't PvP'd a ton yet, or I guess it's not a question, but more of a statement. I'd recommend, if you're looking to get into PvP, like Shozen recommended, Arena is really good. It's no risk PvP. Another no risk PvP, there's 2 others, or 2, maybe 3.
3.
Yeah, there's a
You
couple.
can do
So we
the
have-
Hell Gates at yellow,
Yep.
and Faction Warfare in yellow as well.
and Hunter Corrupted as well. So you have
Yeah,
a
there's
1v1 option.
many different options. Yeah.
Yep.
I
1v1
think the
option,
game's
2v2,
done really good
5v5.
recently with really expanding the kind of, or just slowing that curve down. Before it was kind of you were fresh off the docks as a new player, and then you were handed the rest of the game, and it was like, right, okay, you can stay here and be safe and get nothing, or go here and die, and that was your 2 choices. And now the game really opens up that curve a little bit, and you have all these non-full loot PvP areas, like we just went over Faction Warfare in Yellow Zone, Hellgates in the Yellow Zone, Hunter Corrupted Dungeons, arenas, all these areas where really you can just practice as a player to kind of get used to what the skills are, to get used to how to play with you and your friends and stuff, or whether you're on your own. There's all these different areas to do this with, and it's going to be great for just like really kind of slowly tearing you in, just because I know a lot of veterans will say, oh, just go PvP and stuff, but I can understand as a new player it's a little bit daunting to do, and you really want to learn what some of these skills do before you're losing gear, to not knowing what they do.
Yomchi, I don't know if that's the way you say that, but is asking, can you get lost in the roads? You can, for like, lose which way you came from to an extent. If you go a couple portals deep, it's going to be tough for you to find your way exactly back to where you came. But honestly, you can kind of just keep moving through the roads until you find another way out. So right now, there is a way out from our current location, 2 ways. So you pretty much just look at each portal and look for one that doesn't have a like Latin-like name, and that'll lead you out to the overworld, right? So Karn, Fidair, and Croker Hill are both connected to us right now. That'll take you out somewhere in the world. Now, it might not be exactly where you want to be, but you can find your way home from pretty much anywhere in the overworld, right? So,
yeah, I mean, we came
really
in
a
through
way to get
Limhurst.
stuck in the roads.
We came in through Limhurst, Black Zone, and here we have a way that's going to take us back out through one that leads right to Fort Sterling, one zone away. So I think the trick that a lot of people don't know about the roads is that you're not trying always to get back to where you came in. Sometimes you're just trying to get to a point where you can drop any loot off that you've managed to get out, right? Because as long as you get it out somewhere, you can sell that later. But the main thing is just getting out, you know, with your gear and stuff. It doesn't matter quite getting out in the same place. And honestly, about getting lost in the roads, it's one of my favorite ways to play it. You just get completely lost in here. You see what portals take you to where, and you see what's available to them, and then you just try and find a way out when you have your pockets full of the loot that you can get in here. And I think it's a really valuable way to play.
I think Nazori mentioned something very important there. You're not always looking to get back to where you came from. When you start out in Albion, it very much feels like you're living out of a singular city. As you get farther into it, you're going to realize you're really living out of all the cities, and they're all kind of a place where you want to use, because you're going to have friends that want to do different content in different areas around the world, and you'll eventually find you have sets in almost every city.
Yeah, and this looks troublesome.
Yeah, that looks like a little dangerous there. I see.
Bye.
They're not talking. Wait, did I say something wrong? Oh no! I look over at the screen. You guys are about to die.
Oh.
Sometimes you can bite off a little bit more than you can chew in Albion. This is common.
Okay.
So that was something we just passed by that maybe we should show new players. They don't even know those exist. Let's see if we can find another one. It was a hidden cache.
Yes, the treasure chunk you saw me hitting there, guys, is actually a secret treasure. And what do you have? You have black market loot in there, right? Silver dropped on the floor.
You can get some random loot too. Like I've gotten some really nice pieces of gear. Sometimes you just get a tier 2 boot, but I've had 6-3 pieces drop out of there. It's just random, I think.
So this was when we passed here. Was actually a tier 8 one. If you want to give that a go.
Oh, was it? Are we in a? Where are we right now? Oh, it's a solo area. Yeah, let's do it. There we go. These guys are always pretty much the main focus when you're jumping in those little 3 small balls. They'll produce endless little minions. So always the target I think you go for first. Oh, I forgot I can't loot in combat. I'm sitting here trying to loot. It's not working. I gotta change that setting.
Yeah, these tier 8 ones, these are the ones that can be really crazy, obviously. I mean, you can get a green chest, and you open it, and it won't have much in it. But then if you get a purple chest or a golden legendary chest, the loot can be pretty insane from these. It's kind of crazy when you walk up to just one small place like this that takes you a few minutes to clear, and then you can potentially be getting millions of silver of loot out of it.
Yeah, it just depends on what drops. So even this one here, so this is a tier 8. It's a small area, but if it pops in, if it's a legendary chest, then it can be. You can't tell until you clear it. If it's a legendary chest, I'd say we'd probably both be walking away with 3 to 5 million-ish, maybe. The group chests are just really good.
Yeah, they're very much a wild card out here, and I think that's a lot of people get deterred when they open a chest and they get 25k silver, which can happen on these. It can happen, and it does happen quite often. But it's just more about those big chests, and you kind of tie that into the value and stuff, and it starts to feel more valuable. I do personally wish the base chests, the greens, were maybe a little bit better value in here to incentivize people more, competing. But if you're out here enough, you definitely recognize the value.
Yeah. What boss do we have here? Are we able to do this guy? It's the spear.
So all the solo dungeons actually have the exact same boss.
This is solo. Never mind.
Yeah.
This is not group. I was
the group ones are a little different. How many bosses are there on the group ones?
Only a couple. I know. What is it? The mage one's really easy if you have the right weapons. You can kind of stand out of her range.
So there's 3, I think, right total. There's the spearman, the monk, and the mage.
That's it.
So we have another green one, unfortunately.
This will be really abysmal. Yep.
6k. So this is what we're talking about. Obviously, you can have a pretty awful loot here, but also the fame per mob there was pretty incredible. Even
it's
for
like
for a
when you're
duo.
alone, I think it's like 10 to 15k per mob on a tier 8. Yeah.
Yeah, if you have
I
a
wouldn't
fame
recommend
bag
doing
on,
that unless you're tier 8 Reaver though.
yes, yeah, no, yeah, you definitely want to get the Reaver before you attempt those tier 8 mobs. They will chew you up and spit you out. The tier 6 ones you'll be able to get to doing the tier 6 quite quickly, but the tier 8 ones are very scary when you don't
How do you
have
deal
the
with the
Reaver.
mage? Are you talking about the boss mage on the group areas? So the boss mage is a unique one if that's what you're talking about. So you can actually step out of her range of where she lasers and she'll just sit there. And you can kind of reset and refill your health. You'll actually start regenning back to full and she'll stay in play. So she won't heal up to full as long as you don't go too far. So if you're referring to the mage boss, that's how you handle that. Yep, laser
Right,
boss.
you hear that, Mobius? You can go ahead and fix that now. Make sure that doesn't work that way anymore.
So it's the main thing is it basically fires a holy orb at you, and every time it does that, it gains a stack of 10% bonus damage. So the longer you leave it, every single time it does that 10%, soon it's doing 100% bonus damage, and it is just chunking you down. So the key is there is a point where you can space out to where you outrange those holy orbs. And the stacks will drop off of her, and then you can continue to fight. But that's kind of the trick there, yeah, is to make sure you drop those stacks off.
Funny enough, you can solo that boss with a couple different weapons: bow of Badon, a war bow. You never.
Trade secrets.
You can hit her from out of the range, so that one's interesting. What do we have here? So we have a big group area, a small group area.
A pretty
Group
mixed zone,
static.
really.
Yeah, this is a nice zone. What else do we have on the list? I don't know if we wanted to go over some other things here. So I had pretty much compiled a list of all the different things you can do with a group. We've gone over group dungeons, we've gone over world bosses, gathering aspects, Roads of Avalon content. We didn't mention Avalonian Dungeons, which is notable. I don't think any brand new player is going to be looking at Avalonian Dungeons.
Probably not, yeah.
Once you hit around, I think you're in the tier 8 Reaver kind of area. I think that's when people can start looking at Avalonian Dungeons. They're pretty much you might not have even ever seen them if you're a newer player, but they're basically gold. I don't know, how would you describe them? In the roads, you can see them on the map, but if you're in the black zone, you just have to stumble across them or use a map to spawn them, right? They're built for more of like 10 to 20 players. You want to bring multiple healers, multiple arcane staves. Oh, what happened here?
No, I just had a quick fight with a bunch of people. Don't worry, I took care of it.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're keeping me safe.
No, I have no idea what happened here, but yeah, what I'm guessing is that someone was doing one of those fiber world bosses, because this is the area where we can have one spawn. I want to say that there was a group trying to do it, and another group found them doing it and decided to fight them for it, and obviously one of them won because there's no fiber aspect here now, and clearly a lot of dead bodies. So
I remember. I absolutely love when you come across things like this. I had recently one that I could not. Oh, there's more bodies. Wow.
Jeez.
I could not figure out what happened. There were multiple bodies on the floor, and every single one of them was full of loot. I came out of there with over 1 million in loot from just a bunch of player bodies, and there was no one to be found. And I don't know what happened, if like they had dots on each other. And
Down to the last two. The last two, and they killed each other, and then Nazori comes along with a big sack on his back. Just up. Thank you, gentlemen.
But it's always fun to come across that.
No, the last surviving member saw your name tag and ran. He knew what he was in for, and was like, "This isn't gonna work for me."
He could smell it coming.
All right, we are actually coming up to the end of our show here. Nazori, do you want us to raid your channel?
I am not currently live. I don't think so actually, because I am not set to go live just yet. Let me take a look.
Yeah, we can hang out for a little bit longer while you set that up, so you guys can continue doing whatever you'd like on your stream.
Let's do that. You down for that, Nomad?
Yeah, I'm down.
All right, let me set up. Give me just a minute, and we can continue.
So I mean, these things we've gone over here, I think today, it's pretty much most of the very quick achievable ones. Obviously, there's the ones we talked about like the world bosses, the kind of Avalonian Dungeons. These are group content that you're going to be doing not quite as a new player, but as you're kind of passively evolving in, and maybe you've already hit tier 6 and you're looking to push to those higher tiers, you have these areas that start to become a bit more available to you. So I think we've gone over a good chunk of a lot of the stuff that you can get practice in today. Obviously, as you've seen by all the skeletons, this is a very risky place to go. The solo dungeons here, which is probably an important one to point out, they do not close after the 90 seconds like the normal solo dungeons do. So you are always vulnerable in these dungeons, but with a 610% loot bonus. I have found tier 8 zones in the roads before with multiple tier 8 solo dungeons and made millions of silver and just kept going back and taking more and more and more silver out of it. And then not left until I've had, a whole group come in, and then they will dive dungeons with more than one person. You're going to have 4 people dungeon diving these areas, and it's a scary thing to deal with. But like I said, the value here is so good that as long as you're taking that money away, as long as you're banking that money, at some point, you're definitely making it worth your while.
All right, I think making sure everything's set up and good to go. So we're going to continue our roam here. And
also, Farista, the Roads of Avalon you can do in literally any IP. You can. I would suggest getting a 4.1 set, and then you can do the tier 4 stuff. But you can go explore them at any IP. It doesn't take much to do it. Just make sure you have a set built. Maybe with a little bit of sustain in a mercenary jacket or whatever, or if you're with a group, a healer. And you can really tackle this area from the beginning of the game, as long as you're doing the content that's designed for you here, like the tier 4 mobs.
I just gave out our last 2 prizes of the evening.
All right. I have set up to go live. We're already live on my end, but we're an intro, so we can take our time here shooting over.
Okay.
Who do we have here? LOL Game and Sammy. Congratulations on the win there. I played for countless hours already, but still learned something from today. Thanks for the stream. Hey, Susan, thank you for showing up. I mean, these newbie shows, if I'm understanding, shows are going to be coming around a little bit more often as well, aren't they? And it's it's good.
Every week, every Thursday at 19 UTC, we will be doing them. Nomad should be joining us at least once a month. So we also have Lupac, I believe, pretty much every other week at this point. And then we rotate the rest of the hosts. So it's going to be interesting. And I do hope people continue to come back for them and get more tips on different subjects. Because it seems like every time you guys come on, we've got new information coming out for new players.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing this game since 2015. Naz as well has been playing it since super early on as well. You believe you're right after release there, Nazori, or were you playing during the betas? I can't actually recall.
A little bit right after release. It's just been on and off since release. Yeah.
So we're both players that have just been around for such a long time, and there's so many little tips and tricks you pick up over all this time, and it's, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it's useless. I can't put it on my resume. Help, okay, but I can help you guys with it when you come to these streams and you ask these questions. So you're more than welcome to hang out here, and thank you all for being here.
And I appreciate you guys having me on for the newbie show today.
Oh, thank you for coming on. We appreciate everybody who does this with us. You guys have been fantastic. You've done a couple of them with me now, Nazori. Nomad has also done a couple of them. It's really awesome to be able to bring in members of the streaming community to work with us here at the official channel. And when you guys are as positive and just helpful to the community as you two have been, it makes it easier for us to do this with other streamers as well.
I appreciate that. I'm glad all this information can go somewhere useful.
Yeah, no, it's great that somebody is, there's always new players, right? There's always people coming in. Albion is a continuously growing game, and it's so good to be able to bring the veterans of the game and give them a specifically new player audience where they can really help the new players learn with this, years of experience that you guys have. It's not everybody has a master's in Albion Online, but you guys do. You guys have the master's degree, and you have the knowledge to share. It's great to give you guys an audience to do that. And speaking of audiences, I think it's time for us to go ahead and raid Nazori. I imagine you guys will be over there heading over to some PvP on that channel, and I'm sure everybody will enjoy that there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Shozen, for having me on.
Anytime, man. Thank you very much. And starting the raid now, and we'll send everybody over in just a moment.
Okay. Oh, this has been a lot of fun. I'll be good to we'll carry on here a little bit, me and us, I suppose. And is that raid gone through?
Right.
I believe it has.
Yeah, the raid has gone through.